Hello, YouTube. My name is Uncle Barrett, and I wanted to talk about some issues that I've been seeing around just the world recently. I think one of the hottest topics is the story with Travis Hunter and his relationship situation. I think another issue that a lot of people are talking about is NIL and its effects on its college football players and the transfer portal. Um, Growing up, I had a lot of dreams and a lot of things happened to me that were weird at the time. One of my favorite people in the world was my late great uncle, Willie Wyatt. Um, he was a coach in Columbia, Tennessee, and he was a really big fisherman and hunter and actually inspired me to love fishing. I'm not the greatest fisher in the world, but I enjoy just being out there and catching whatever, catfish, brim, bluegill, bass. I just enjoy just being out there. But one thing I wanted to share with you was something that my uncle Willie shared with me a long time ago when I was probably like 8 or 9 years old. I remember him coming home from a fishing trip and he had this huge catfish that probably took up the whole uh, truck side of his bed in the back of his truck. I just remember just being so amazed by it. It was just crazy looking at it. Um, I guess he saw the look on my face and decided to tell me a story since he saw how amazed I was at how large the catfish was. He said, this catfish probably is about 60 or 70 years old and it's been through many dangers. And somehow it's still, sometimes people may have caught it and released it. It had to survive other fish trying to eat it. Just faced many dangers to get up until this point. At the time, I thought it was a cool story, but I realized later on what he was trying to teach me and tell me was that in life there are many dangers seen and unseen. And, some people get cut off early. Some people, get their lives cut off short or end up in prison or just don't reach their full potential. For me, I didn't know what that meant for me, but I felt like I should take heed to what he was saying to me at a young age to just be more aware of my surroundings. And um, this eventually led me to read scripture and see that Jesus was preaching about becoming fishers of men. And that inspired me to learn more about the process of fishing and just dealing with people in general. And so I'd like to kind of share a little bit of my story. I'm a big dreamer. I literally have so many dreams since I was a little kid. But in this particular video, I want to talk about 4 dreams that I had in 2014. Um, the first dream I had, I was a slave on a plantation. And I remember my family and some people and some strangers that I knew that were on this plantation with me. It was a little different. It didn't seem like it was abusive like what I've read in history books how slavery was. And I'm not saying that those things didn't happen. I'm just saying in this particular dream, it didn't come across as that way. Well, there was a little girl that was, I think she was a runaway slave. She was coming onto our plantation with this fear and this urgency that she was trying to hide from this group of men that were trying to catch her. Eventually, these men, it was several of them, they had these red eyes with this evil intent in their look. They were just evil looking, and they were looking for this girl. Um, Basically, the matriarch of our family on the slave plantation instructed the family to go into hiding, to hide from these evil men, including the runaway girl. And basically, she went to go reason with these men or negotiate with them or whatever she said to them. But whatever she said to them, they passed over us. And um, I woke up from that first dream. Went back to sleep, and I had a second dream. In the second dream, um, I'm on the same kind of plantation or land, but this time I'm in the form of a Doberman Pinscher, like a dog, and on this land there's six other dogs with me. Rottweiler, um, uh, pit bulls, and just dominant type breed dogs, and we were guarding a certain territory. Uh, the dream kind of zoomed out a little bit to where I could see a more, uh, I guess, large terrain besides just our property, and it looked like Middle Tennessee. And we were guarding this. This was like our territory. We were guarding it. Well, there was like a fence kind of guarding the barrier of the state, and so it was like just a protective from something. Later on in the dream, there were a group of wolves, just normal sized wolves, that came up to the border of the fence, and they were snarling and trying to threaten us. But at first, I wasn't too worried. Uh, I just wasn't too worried because there was a fence that was guarding us, and I figured they couldn't get through it. Um, just like dogs have a certain hierarchy, I wasn't the alpha in my group out of the seven that were with us. In fact, I was the beta. I was probably the least one that had the most experience or whatever. But eventually, these wolves grew to be the size of like titans. They were bigger than the Batman building, Nashville. That's the Bell South ATM building, downtown Nashville. But these titans grew to just tower over the whole city. They were just like Godzilla or some type of principality. And they had these red eyes. And I remember they hopped over the fence, and the fence just grew. Or I'm sorry, when they hopped over the fence, the earth shook. It was almost like an earthquake. So these were some heavy beings. Um, they did not mean good. They meant harm. In fact, they meant to dominate. For whatever reason, they started with our alpha and started peeing on just different. I'm sorry, let me start back a little bit. They started peeing on the buildings. They started peeing on our largest buildings. They're doing what dogs do as far as trying to mark their territory, but they took it a step further and started peeing on us, specifically our left ear, starting with our alpha. Um, I read somewhere that when dogs do that, when they pee on you, they're trying to establish dominance. So what I remember about that dream is it felt like they were trying to dominate us. Now, for me personally, it's one thing for, I can live to fight another day. If you want to take over my house, or if I lose my property or whatever, I can go find another property and reestablish somewhere, is what I was thinking in the dream. But it's another thing for you to pee on me, because that's saying that you own me, like slavery, or that you just own me, period. And so that didn't really sit well with me. I remember this wrath that was building up in my heart at the time. Um, and I remember looking at the other dogs in my anger, saying in my mind that, I'm not asking you all to fight with me, but I can't live like this. Whoever these wolves are, they're going to have to kill me, because if they don't, I'm going to kill them. Um, I just wasn't going to be nobody's slave. Not like that. I wasn't. It was just a total disrespect, is what they were doing. Um, and so I remember growing in my wrath. The anger just kept building up in me. And then all of a sudden, I started to grow to be the size of these titans. I wasn't a normal Doberman Pinscher anymore. I grew to match their size. I remember a white cloud that came out of nowhere as I was attacking their main alpha. I was trying to go after his throat and literally kill this titan. But a white cloud came down from the sky and blurred out the entire dream to where I could not see the fight, and um, all I remember is that the white cloud left, and when it left, that we had won the battle. Um, Whoever these titans were, they got whooped. They were just beat. Some of them killed, but they were just whooped, defeated. Didn't have a chance on whatever happened behind that white cloud. Um, and I remember that me and the seven other or six other dogs we just weren't touched. It was like nobody touched us. It almost looked like we weren't even in a fight. And so I woke up from that dream, went back to sleep, and then ended up having a third dream. And this third dream, um, I'm on the Tennessee Vols football team. You know, in real life, they're one of my favorite teams. I'm a big fan of theirs. But in this dream, I'm on their team as like a special teams player. I'm not a starter or have any type of star potential in there. I'm just on special teams, running back, punt returns, or something to that nature. But in this dream, we're beating Florida. That's one of our rivals, one of our main rivals, in my opinion. We're beating them at halftime, like 35-7, and it's the first time that I guess, we're beating them in a while in this way. So the fans were excited, the players were excited, and I remember going into the locker room feeling this hope of like, we're about to beat this team. We hate them, they hate us, and they beat us the last however many years that we played them, and it's just our times. How I felt in the dream. What I didn't expect was two things. One, Nick Saban and Philip Former were our like co-head coaches on the team, which I thought was weird since Nick Saban is like one of Tennessee's rivals playing or coaching for Alabama, and Philip Former just being retired or really not being in the scenes anymore. So I didn't really know what that meant at the time. But I saw these two men, and then there was an argument between our coaches and the starters of the team. Basically, the starters wanted to run up the score and kind of put their foot on the throat of our rivals, so to speak. And then there was our coaches having a disagreement with them, saying that they wanted to run the ball, basically control the clock, and be more respectful. Well, Nick Saban, being who he is, he doesn't really negotiate. It's either his way or no way. You either do what he says, or you can just get off the team pretty much. Which in the dream, that's what he said. He said, "Hey guys, if you don't want to follow these instructions, I understand, but you can get off this team if you don't want to follow these instructions." Now, when he said that, in my mind, I'm like, guys, we're winning. There's no way that, we should like stop uh, anything. Let's just finish this game out. But that's not what happened. Literally, 75% of the team just got up and left. And it shocked me. And all I remember was Nick Saban looking at me with this concern in his eye, and he said, like, what are we going to do? Like, he just looked really concerned about it. And so I went back to sleep, and I didn't have any more dreams that first night. But the second night, I had another dream. And on this dream, I was working at my job, my current job at the time. I'm a server, so I was working in this restaurant, and I was working some crazy hours in this dream, like doubles back to back to back, and I was just hustling, grinding, and I was tired. Um, my mom came to me and asked me if I wanted to go on vacation with her and the family. Um, I guess I was in a place where I could afford to take time off, so I agreed to go on this trip with her. They took me to this kind of Caribbean tropical place. It was beautiful. It was a private resort, and we were all just kind of resting as a family. Well, me being, I guess, wanting more adventure or wanting to party or whatever was on my mind, I saw this. I went out and tried to, find some other activities to do. Eventually, I saw this path that kind of led through the jungle and went onto the other side of the island. I walked through it, and then on the other side of the island, I saw this big cruise ship. It seemed like a lot of people were just partying and having a good time on there, and I wanted to get a piece of that. Me just being young, and so I went back to the other side of the island and somehow convinced my family to give this, to try to get on the ship to give it a try. So we all get on the ship, and most cruise ships have like an entertainment hall where you can listen to live music or a movie or something to that nature. So the family and I, there was a gathering in this ship's entertainment hall. It was being led by the music or sound of this stingray. Now, this stingray, he had the appearance of the stingray like of a Finding Nemo. He was just kind of this character, this like cartoon looking character. But he sent out a contest amongst the people in the entertainment hall. He basically told the people that, hey guys, I'm looking for this golden key. It's on the ship somewhere. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. The one that finds me the key, this person will be granted infinite wishes. So, like a genie gives you 3 wishes. This stingray was the prize was that could win infinite wishes, and then this prize could be in the form of a birthright and can be passed down from generation to generation. Now, when he put out this decree, a lot of people started just losing their minds. I mean, flipping over tables and trying to find this key. Even my grandma, who doesn't really get around that well, she was flipping over tables trying to find this key. So I knew that um, this was this key was very valuable, and it was so valuable to where everybody thought that it was just worth trying to find, like winning the lottery, only greater. And so, um, but the crazy part was is that in the midst of the dream, I heard an audible voice in my right ear that said, "Don't rush or panic. Just let me lead you to it." And so I literally put my hands behind my back and started just kind of searching for, just taking my time walking to where eventually I ended up at the bottom of the ship, like in a dark kind of place, like the basement of the ship, I guess. And that's where I found a shiny key, like a little shiny golden key. Um, when I found it, I was extremely excited because for me, it was like winning the lottery or something like that. And so, like winning the lottery, I didn't really feel comfortable telling everybody that I found it because, I mean, you know how people are. Like, if you tell them you got a lot of valuable stuff, they try to take stuff from you or take advantage of you. And so, um, I felt like I could show my family, like my dad and my mom first, because it's my family. I trusted them. So I ended up showing my dad what I had found, and to my surprise, what happened? He just tried to attack me. Like he punched me in my jaw, and it hurt, and it threw me off balance to the point where I ended up losing the key. Like the key started like spiraling through the air, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, I can't. My dad's never punched me in my face in my life, so this totally was just like a shock to me. Well, um, after he had punched me, like it was like almost like the whole ship was like trying to jump me after that because they knew that I had found it. So I ended up trying to fight back and like trying to get them off me. I remember pushing somebody like off of me to basically gain momentum and to like kind of lift me away from them, but also kind of push me towards where the key was headed. Again, the key was just spiraling through the air at the time. So I started flying towards the key, and I eventually caught it. But the momentum like made me go into the side of this ship, and when the tip of the key hit the side of the ship exploded, and it to me it looked like something off of Pearl Harbor, like how the Japanese bombed the Pearl Harbor ships. It was just a really big explosion, and then the ship started to sink like the Titanic. And all this was weird to me. It was nighttime, and I could see people or hear people screaming and just being in this really bad situation. And then all of a sudden, I mean, me personally, I'm afraid of the abyss. The ocean, the ocean fascinates me, but it also scares me, especially if you've ever been out there at nighttime. It can be intimidating if you're just looking straight down in there. It's like just staring into the abyss, like just straight darkness, especially if there's no moon or stars out. So in this dream, we were sinking, and I remember having just this panic, like my worst fear is about to come true. Well, as we were sinking, and I remember just just being submerged into complete darkness. Um, after I was under the water, I saw that same stingray that was singing this. When he was on the ship, he was singing this happy tune like "You can have it all, you can have it all, you can have it all," and it was a very mesmerizing um, just beat to it, and so and it like drew everybody to it. But when I saw him again underneath the darkness of the water, he was singing the same lyrics, but it had a different tone to it. This one was more depressing, like just really sorrowful, just a sad tone to it. It went like, "Oh, you can have it all. You can have it all." Like it was just a really dark, deep, depressing sound. And it was just a hopeless situation. That same stingray eventually just swam off into the darkness where I couldn't see him anymore, and I thought it was just over with until these two lights pierced the darkness to where I couldn't. Um, I didn't really know what was going on. I knew it wasn't a rescue mission because when the lights pierced the darkness and shined the light on us, the people that were on the ship and the ship itself, I knew some time had gone by because the ship had like rust and coral. Like it wasn't a rescue mission. Some time had gone by. But what was interesting to me was the people on the ship, including myself, we were still alive, but we were like preserved like some mummies. Like we were just mummified, and it was almost like we were waiting on somebody to wake us up or come find us. And that's when the dream ended. So, guys, this is my first video. I wanted to kind of talk about these things and just see what you guys thought about it, what you all think they might mean, or if you guys have crazy dreams like these. These four dreams happened in 2014, and like I said, right now I'm a server. I love what I do. I get a chance to meet people, and eventually, I'm in the process of writing books about some of these stories that I've had while I was serving and just going through life. But for now, I would like to give a shout out to a couple of people who have inspired me along the way up until this point. One person is Nick Saban. The other is Philip Former. You have G. Craig Lewis with EX Ministries. John Ramirez. Gino Jennings. Mark Verkler. Deion Sanders. And my parents and Beatty and my grandma Beatty Franklin. All these people inspired me to basically just stand on what you believe in, even if the world doesn't believe in you or doesn't agree with you. Just believe in something and stand on it. Me personally, again, I like to go fishing, and my testimony is I can assure you that God has shown me how to become a fisher of men for His kingdom, and so that's the purpose of why I'm making these videos is to talk about my life experience and what God has done for me during this time. But yeah, let me know what you all think about these videos. Again, I had these in 2014. They were kind of crazy to me, but I think that if you're really paying attention to what's going on these days, just in real life, whether it be NIL and transfer portal issues in college football, or just how Hollywood and the industry is just kind of in a dark place right now as far as being exposed and what we're seeing in real time. So I'm not here to say if anything's right or wrong. I'm just trying to spark up discussion on what do you guys think is going on right now. Anyways, I hope you all have a blessed day. I hope you all find inspiration. I will be making more videos to come to explain what I think some of these dreams mean going forward, and just to tell stories about how becoming a server has opened up my eyes to just the process of being humble, and how Jesus himself was the ultimate server of humankind. So I'll be talking about these things in future videos. And, um, guys, I'm a server, like I said before, and right now is a very slow time, just the year for everybody, I think. I left my Cash App at Uncle Barrett underscore, I'm sorry, Uncle Barrett underscore, I'm sorry, Uncle Barrett, I'm sorry, Uncle underscore Barrett on my Instagram. And I left my Cash App there if you all want to leave a blessing, if any of this inspires you or helps you. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time. Bye.